What is the difference between burglary and robbery?
There's big differences. Burglary is entering a building, whether that's a residence or like a commercial property, and intending to commit a crime inside. Most people think of burglary as breaking in with a crowbar or smashing the window and diving through. In New York, there's no breaking requirement. You just have to enter a building intending to commit a crime inside. So even if you can walk in, the door's unlocked, or you can sneak in another way, or not even sneak in, it's about entering with the intent to commit a crime inside. Robbery is basically theft through force. So if you have your cell phone on the table and I grab your cell phone, that's just theft. But if I physically grab your shoulder and your arm and I rip it out of your hand and I do it through physical force, that's considered robbery.
So then what is the difference between robbery and larceny?
So again, with robbery, there needs to be that physical force component. So you have to physically take the item. In larceny, it's just a theft. So larceny can be any type of theft. It could be internet theft. It could be theft of an item. And that's just kind of the overarching. Larceny is theft.
What is the difference between grand and petite larceny?
So the difference between grand larceny and petty larceny is all about dollar amounts. So grand larceny starts at over $1,000. Anything less than $1,000 is petty larceny, whether that's $1 to up to $1,000. That's petty larceny. At $1,000 and up, it switches to grand larceny.
Are all grand larcenies felonies?
In New York, all grand larcenies are felonies.
What degrees of larceny are there?
So there's 4th degree, 3rd degree, 2nd degree, and 1st degree grand larceny, and it goes by the dollar amount. So as the alleged theft is higher, the degree of grand larceny continues to go up.
How is property valued in New York State?
So property is usually valued by replacement cost. It's something that's not always done correctly by law enforcement. So sometimes part of our defense is to challenge the property value. So the police are going to either get estimates from an expert, or they're going to look at retail values or ballpark values. But the problem with ballpark values is defense attorneys can come in and say those aren't really the values. So I guess a good example would be if an iPhone is $1,000 or $1,050 when it's released. If it's stolen right away, that's grand larceny. If it's stolen 2 years later, it can't be still $1,050 because that's what was paid for it. The phone is only worth $800 now.
What is the statute of limitations for grand larceny?
Statute of limitations is 5 years. If the police have information that a crime occurred, they'd have a little bit of time to bring the charges forward. Or if somebody was the victim of a larceny, they would have some time to bring it forward, but not an infinite amount of time. Law enforcement could run into some troubles if they delay too long for some speedy trial and some other issues. So, but generally speaking, there's some years to work with.
What are some common theft defenses?
So many of the theft defenses would be similar to other types of crimes. I didn't do it. You have the wrong person. I didn't intend to steal anything. It was an accident. So sometimes larcenies are like retail larcenies, and a store might stop somebody before they exit the store. They haven't even left the property yet, and they would say you passed the register or you were past the point of sale, you intended to steal that. Someone may say, well, no, I hadn't left the store. I was going to get an additional item in the front of the store, or I was going to come back and pay for that. So I didn't do it. I didn't have the intent to do it. It was an accident. Other defenses that we use in larceny cases or any other cases, you just don't have enough evidence. District attorney, I hear what you're saying, but I don't think you can prove that we're the ones that did this, or prove that this was over $1,000 or whatever it is. So I guess another defense could be that you had the right to the property. So you have to steal property of another person if you believe that it's your property or you have a right to that property. Taking it, the defense would be, I took back what was mine, or that was mine, I'm allowed to take it, or I believed it was mine, so I didn't have the intent part. So there's a number of different defenses, but a lot of them are carryover from our other charges.
What are some common charges made alongside theft crimes?
We see a lot of theft cases for items like cell phones. So I guess in that circumstance, other domestic violence charges. So a victim may claim that their cell phone was stolen, but that they were also hit or injured in some way. As far as like retail or theft of somebody's property, trespass could be one. That you didn't have a right to be on my property and then you took my property. And so I guess if it's going in the house, we might be looking at burglary, but if we're not going in the house, maybe something like trespass.